Can your child choose where they want to live in a custody case? Hi, I'm Alycia Kinchloe, the owner of Kinchloe Law, a family law practice based in the Philadelphia area. Now, when it comes to children choosing where they want to live, that can create a lot of ruckus in a custody case. The first thing I'm going to remind you of is that you need to speak with an attorney licensed in your state about the facts specific to your case. And when it comes to children's preference, there are several things that go into consideration. So, the first thing I want to remind you is that the child's preference is one of the 16 custody factors that the court must take into consideration. But they also look at the age and maturity level of the child. So you need to understand that there is no strict cutoff. It doesn't mean that if a child is 10 or 13 or 14, that they automatically get to choose which parent they want to live with and for how long, but is one factor in the custody factors. And there is the consideration of the age and maturity level. So let's talk a little bit more about this. Now, generally, when there is a custody case and a judge is making an order on a modification or an original complaint for custody, a judge is usually going to speak with the child. Now, in a lot of counties, they're going to talk to a child when they're even 3 or 4 years old. And at that point, they're not generally looking to see where the child wants to be. They're one, making sure the child is happy, healthy, safe, and they do that by asking certain types of questions. And by asking certain questions, they can see whether or not they can be even qualified as a witness. So basically, does the child have the ability to understand certain things? Do they understand the difference between a truth and a lie and consequences of not telling the truth? But again, when we're talking about very small children, we're looking at their ability to understand and communicate certain information to the court. Now, again, what the judge may be looking for can be different at different ages of the child and for different reasons pertaining to the case. Sometimes in certain courts, the children are asked to be produced to be able to help with the exchange of the children, especially if one of the parents has been withholding a child. It can help again with the court making sure the child is actually well and is safe. Now, when it comes to certain questions the judge is going to ask, oftentimes, and we've done another video about this, oftentimes the judge may ask them questions that pertain to particular areas in a case. So maybe something fact specific. Like, for example, does your mom leave you home alone at night while she goes to work? The judge can ask certain questions to find out whether or not there is truth in that, especially where there's a dispute between the parties as to what is actually going on. Now, when it comes to the child's preference about where they want to live, the generally, the older the child, the more likely the judge is going to lean towards what the child's preference is. And that's often because based on the age of the child, it can be difficult to force that child or even encourage that child to comply with the custody order. If a child is 15 or 16 and threatens to run away or do things like that, the court may try to do, again, what's in the overall best interest of the child. And remember, that's the goal of the court, is to do what's in the best interest of the child. Now, one of the things the courts can look at too is going to be the reason that a particular child wants to spend time with a particular parent. Is one parent the disciplinarian? Is one parent the fun parent? Maybe again the other parent is not home. Is lackadaisical with making sure that they do their work or that they are adhering to certain rules or guidelines that are generally good for the child, making sure they're getting back and forth to school. That is something the court can consider. And the court, again, is going to do what's in the best interest. But the court, again, is going to look at whether there are other means of making sure they affect some of those other things. Is there a way to hold mom responsible for making sure that the child gets to school? Is there a discussion that the judge can have with the child to encourage them to help mom and dad follow the order, or to encourage them or basically explain to them why it's important for them to follow the order. So those are some of the things that the court will look at when determining the child's preference. Again, it's just one of the 16 factors, but it can be one that can be weighed heavily in favor of a certain parent depending on the age and maturity level of the child. Now, again, you want to make sure you look at those other 15 factors because they are extremely important as well, and use those in your case and discussing your strategy with your attorney about what's the best way to present your case, and understanding what the child's preference might be. And again, speak to your attorney about finding out what that is, because you want to be careful about asking the child directly about custody schedules and about where they want to be, because the judge may look at it, or the court may look at it as coaching or encouraging the child to give certain types of testimony. And you want to stay away from that generally as well, because it can have an adverse effect on your case, and ultimately what your goals are for the custody of your child. All right, I hope that sheds some light on the child's preference and what it means in a court of law. And again, underscore that you should speak with your attorney about the strategy of your case, and definitely before you speak to or with any witness, even your child, about their testimony in a particular case, because it can come with ramifications if you do it in an inappropriate fashion, or you do anything that can be considered as intimidating or coaching any witness, let alone your child. Make sure you hit subscribe and the notification bell so that each time we drop a new video, which we are doing every single day of 2021 on custody, divorce, and support, you'll get a new notification. All right, until next time, take care.